And we're back. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Roll School. My name is Nathaniel. I'm the host here at the channel, and today we are returning with another one of the Secrets of Strixhaven set review videos. We've already done multicolored and colorless. We've done white cards, and now we're doing blue cards. If you guys enjoy this content, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Any and all of it is greatly appreciated. At the time of recording, I believe we're at 409, if I'm not mistaken. So thank you guys for all the love and support, and let's jump into things. So last video we put out was the white cards. As I said, we already did multicolored and colorless. This has been a really interesting set so far. A lot of power in what I believe is green, white, and green, blue, and black. Okay, so those colors are really what's seeing the most love right now, but we'll see. I haven't looked at all the single colors, so here we go. All right, Banishing Betrayal. Oh, and I'll rate every card from 1 to 10. 4 is about average for me, and so I'll give a lot of cards that. If I think it's just, all right, cool, it's an okay card. Banishing Betrayal, 1 and a blue instant speed. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand and surveil 1. Fine. I don't think this is anything crazy, but it is good for all of your, instant and sorcery builds with blue, so I'll give it a 4 out of 10. Brush It Off, 2 and 2 blue instant. It costs 1 and a blue less if it targets an instant or sorcery spell. Counter target spell. Paying 4 to counter something is definitely not worth it. Paying 2 to counter something is nice, but obviously if you're only holding up 2 mana, you're betting on them having an instant or sorcery. So I don't love this as a 4 mana counter spell, possibly 2 mana if you get lucky. I think it's fine, but I don't think it's great. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10. Campus Composer, 3 and a blue Merfolk Bard, 3/4. So 4 mana, 3/4, ward 2, and it enters prepared. So then you can spend 5 to create a 3/3 blue and red elemental creature token with flying. Totally fine, but again, nothing crazy. I don't love that this is a 4 mana 3/4, even with the ward 2. And this feels a little expensive. I mean, I assume this does count as casting a sorcery, so it is nice that it's 5 mana for your, what is it? It's called Opus. Is that what the ability is called? I think it's called like Opus or something like that. So this seems pretty good for that, but fine. Between a 3 and a 4, maybe just enough to get it to a 4. Chase Inspiration, 1 blue instant. Target creature you control gets +0/+3 and gains hexproof until end of turn. I do like hexproof on this. I don't mind that at all. I also think that giving it some toughness is really nice. Do I want to run a protective card in my hand? I think it's fine. This just kind of screams like a snakeskin veil to me, essentially. So, probably a 4, maybe a 3. Again, that's kind of where we're at. Blue hasn't crazy impressed me so far. Deluge Virtuoso, 2 and a blue, so 3 mana, 2/2. When it enters, tap target creature an opponent controls and put a stun counter on it. That could be pretty good tempo. And then here's Opus. Okay, so whenever instant or sorcery, +1/+1 until end of turn. If 5 or more, gets +2/+2 instead. That's really nothing too crazy. Just turns this into a 3/3 or a 4/4. I think this creature's fine. I do think that the tempo part makes it a little bit better, so that'll bump it up to a 4 for me, but nothing too crazy still. Divergent Equation, 2x and a blue instant. Return up to X target instant and sorcery cards from your graveyard to your hand. I just don't think this is going to be good at all. It's just 3 mana, get 1 card back to your hand, or 5 mana, get 2. I just don't think this is extremely playable and limited. I'm going to give this 2 out of 10. Maybe even bordering on 1. This seems really bad. Echo Casting Symposium. I hope I'm saying that right. Echo Casting Symposium. 4 and 2 blue. This is, of course, a mythic sorcery lesson. Okay, target player creates a token. The last one with Paradigm was crazy, and I already see Paradigm. Target player creates a token that's a copy of target creature you control. Okay, so you have to have a creature here. So basically you get to copy a creature every single turn, because Paradigm, if you don't remember it from last video, if you didn't see that, lets you copy this spell at the beginning of your first main phase every single turn. So this is 6 mana. You make a copy of a creature you control every single turn. Not bad. Definitely once it's free on those future turns, and an okay effect on the turn it comes out. I don't think it says game breaking as get something from your graveyard, but obviously there might be turns you don't have something from your graveyard. You have something to copy with this. So I'm going to give it a similar 9 out of 10. I think this is pretty game breaking if it continues to go on, right? Because this is just creature generation at a certain point. Emeritus of Ideation is what I'm going to go with on that one. 3 and 2 blue, so a 5 mana, 5/5 human wizard. Flying, ward 2 is already great. Enters prepared. Whenever it attacks, you may exile 8 cards from your graveyard. If you do, this creature becomes prepared. I'm sorry. Do I see a creature with Ancestral Recall as its instant? That's insane. Target player draws 3 cards. This thing is huge. This thing is insane. 5 mana, 5/5 flyer with Ward 2 that lets you Ancestral Recall potentially repeatedly. That's insane. This is easy 10 out of 10. This is a game-breaking card right here. This becomes 6 mana, draw 3 with a 5/5 flyer that might get you to draw 3 again. Yeah, 9 or 10 out of 10. Crazy powerful. Crazy powerful. That's a huge mythic you want to hit. Encouraging Aviator. This is a 3 mana 2/3 flyer. When it attacks, it becomes prepared, and it gets jump. Target creature gains flying until end of turn. Not too bad. I don't love the stat line, although flying can sometimes make up for it, and it does allow you to attack without, guaranteed losing it every single time. Nothing too crazy, but I'll give it a 4 out of 10. I think it's okay. Essence Scatter, we've seen a million copies of this, as you can see over here. 1 and a blue instant counter target creature spell. I like this a little bit more than the other one, even though it only counters creature spells, because you're going to see a lot of creature spells in Limited. It's kind of like the main way to win. That being said, I don't take it super highly, so it's probably in that 3 to 4 area. Obviously, if you're wanting to cast instants, it has, some more ideal to playing it, but I'll give it a 3-ish. Exhibition Tidecaller, single blue 0/2, already fine. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, target player mills 3 cards. If 5 or more mana was spent, so this is Opus, that player mills 10 cards instead. I mean, mill is a way that you can win, obviously. If you think your game's going to go late and you're going to be able to get it there, this is worth something. Honestly, there's a lot of graveyard synergy in this game, like in this format. So I don't know if I love putting cards in my opponent's graveyard. So I think I'm probably just going to give this about a 4 out of 10. I don't think this is a very strong rare to pull. Flow State. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put 1 of them into your hand. The rest on the bottom of your library in any order. If there is an instant or sorcery card in your graveyard, instead put 2 of them into your hand and the rest. That's fine. Look at the top 3, get a card, and more often than not, it's in these decks, it's going to be look at the top 3, get 2 cards. Not bad at all. I like this one a lot. I might even say 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10. I love card draw. Love card draw. Fractal Anomaly. Single blue instant. Create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token and put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of cards you've drawn this turn. So obviously, if you've drawn a lot of cards, you could potentially get this to be a 1 mana 3/3 or a 1 mana 4/4, which is very powerful, not to mention it's on an instant, so that might trigger things. However, it's also likely to end up being a 1 mana 1/1 or a 1 mana 2/2. Not complaining about that at instant speed, because that's effectively a flash creature, but it's okay. It's fine. You're also not likely to have drawn as many cards on somebody else's turn, so it's harder to make it a bigger flash creature in that way. I'll give it a 4 out of 10. I do think it's still playable. Fractalize. X and a blue instant. Until end of turn, target creature becomes a green and blue fractal with base power and toughness, each equal to X +1. So it's the amount of mana you spend on this. So you can spend 5 mana to make something a base 5/5. I don't think that's actually that powerful. You're spending 3 or 4 mana to make most of your creatures just their base selves. This is powerful in specifically Simic because it'll buff the 0/0s by that much, but those are obviously already fractal creatures, so it kind of loses a lot of flavor on that. I don't love this card. I'm going to give this a 3 out of 10. I think you could play it, but it's not going to be very strong. Harmonized Trio. 1 blue for a 1/1 Merfolk Bard Wizard. You can tap it, tap 2 untapped creatures you control, and this creature becomes prepared. And if you do, you Brainstorm. 1 blue instant, draw 3 cards, then put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. Obviously, Brainstorm is very powerful. A 1 mana 1/1 that has the potential to eventually Brainstorm, but you've got to tap 2 other untapped creatures, which I just think is going to be difficult to do. So I don't love this card either. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10 because it doesn't enter prepared. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. That's a lot of setup. Homesickness. Oh, this is such a cute card. 4 and 2, what?
What does it look like?
It's a very colorful, like, college student, but he's got, you can see like a picture of his family, and he's like holding a package that was sent with them and a letter from them. So it's like being homesick while you're at college. I think that's cute. The flavor text says, "We know you're working hard, dress warm, and get enough sleep. Dad says hi, love, Mom." That's cute. Target player draws 2 cards, tap up to 2 target creatures, and put a stun counter on each of them. That's a lot. Now, obviously, it's 6 mana, but it's 6 mana, draw 2, tap 2, stun 2, which is pretty solid. I'll give it a 4 out of 10. I like card draw. I don't know what to tell you. Card draw and tempo. It's really good in Simic if you're just trying to get to your big stuff, and you're probably casting it sooner because you're ramping. Hydro Channeler, 1 and a blue creature, Merfolk Wizard, 2 mana, 1/3. You can tap it to add a blue, but spend it only to cast instant or sorcery spells. I think in a lot of decks, this is going to be a good mana dork. Or you can pay 1, tap it, add 1 mana of any color, spend this mana only to cast instant or sorcery spell. That could be good for some mana fixing as well. Solid creature, 4 out of 10. Jadzi, Steward of Fate, 2 and a blue, legendary creature, human wizard, 2/4, so 3 mana, 2/4 that enters prepared. When it enters, draw 2, then discard 2. That's really strong as well, so I already like this creature a lot. And then you can cast its Oracle's Gift, 2x and a blue, create X, 0/0 green and blue fractal creature tokens, and then put X +1/+1 counters on each fractal you control. Definitely a strong effect. I think all of this combined, I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. Very strong, rare to pull there. 1 and a blue, 2/1 with the creature enters prepared that can spend 5 mana to draw 2 cards. Now, notably, 5 mana on this is another way to cast, like I said, a sorcery and to trigger all your Opus effects, the 5 mana side of them. So that is an upside to this. That being said, I don't love the body, and that is pretty expensive. I don't know if this ekes into 4 territory. This might be a 3. I don't love taking this as a 2-drop because it's likely to trade away before you're casting it with its vibrant idea. That being said, card draw is really powerful, so there's a chance it ekes into 4 category. Mana Sculpt, 1 and 2 blue, instant, counter target spell. If you control a wizard, add an amount of colorless mana equal to the amount of mana spent to cast that spell at the beginning of your next main phase. Wow. So this is just mana drain for 1 more. This is mana drain for 1 more, but you have to control a wizard. That's pretty powerful to add a mana drain effect. That's kind of crazy. Now, I don't know how much you're going to benefit from the ramp in this game, but you definitely could. I'm sure there are a ton of wizards in Strixhaven. I'm going to imagine that most of I haven't been paying attention, but I'm going to imagine that you can easily have a wizard. So holding up 3 is a bit expensive for this, but I do think that's a pretty big payoff. So I'm going to say this gets a 5 out of 10 for me. In the right deck, this gets a 5 out of 10 for me. All right, Mathemagics. I adore this card. It is X, X, and 2 blue. And target player draws 2 to the X. We're using exponents here, guys. Exponents. Okay, sorry, I'll stop. Target player draws 2 to the X cards. So you can actually straight up cast this with X = 0, and you will get 1 card. You can play 2 blue and get 1 card. You can do that. You can then pay 4 to get 2, which is not great. You can pay 6 to get 4, which is totally fine. And then if you manage to cast this for anything more than that, you're just drawing an insane amount. And I love that they go all the way up to 2 to the 5th here, because 2 to the 6th is 64 cards, and in everything but Commander, there's going to be no reason to do that. So they include everything that they would need. Now, obviously, you could potentially pay more than 12 mana into this and draw more than 32 cards, but I love this. I love this card. Flavor-wise and just me liking Mathemagics is probably my favorite card from the set. I saw it spoiled early. It's obviously super popular. And man, let me tell you that the other printings of some of these cards look so beautiful. There's definitely a set where they went like all out on the art, and you can tell. I love it. It's so gorgeous. Power-wise, you're probably casting this as a 4-mana draw 2 most of the time, and hoping that you cast it as a 6-mana draw 4, which is solid, but not broken. So it probably lands between a 5 and a 6 for me. Very good card draw card. Extremely good if you manage to get a ton of mana. But probably, like I said, a 5 or a 6. Matter Bending Mage, 2 and a blue, human wizard, 2/2, so 3 mana, 2/2. When it enters, return up to 1 other target creature to its owner's hand, so you do get to bounce something. Whenever you cast a spell with an X in it, its mana cost, this creature can't be blocked this turn. not bad, just a way to get the creature through. That being said, I like the bounce effect on this creature. Typically when we see a creature like this with a bounce effect, it is pretty powerful. So I'm going to just go on a whim here and say this actually might end up being a 5 out of 10, just because we love making somebody pay the cost of their card like twice. If with all the fractal creatures, oh my goodness, can you imagine this bounces a 5/5 away? That's huge, man. I bet this card's going to be really good. 5 out of 10. Muse Seeker, 1 and a blue elf wizard, 1/2, so 2 mana, 1/2. Opus, draw a card. If it's 5 or more, then discard a card. Okay, so draw a card and discard unless it was 5 or more, in which case you just draw a card. Not bad. I don't love 2 mana, 1/2, but having the card draw and cycling could be really important in an instant and sorcery deck. So this is going to bump up to a 4 for me just because it might be really crucial. Muse's Encouragement. We have a 5 mana, 4 and a blue instant. Create a 3/3 blue and red elemental creature token with flying, and then surveil 2. Nothing crazy about this. This is 5 mana, get a 3/3 flyer, and surveil 2. It is an instant speed, but nothing too crazy. I'm going to give this a 3 out of 10. Orisa, Tide Choreographer. This is a 4 and a blue 2/2. Holy crap. The spell costs 3 less to cast if creatures you control have total toughness 10 or greater. You want that every single time. You want her to be a 2 mana 2/2. But when she enters, you do draw 2 cards. I actually think 5 mana, draw 2, and get a 2/2 is right about right. And if you manage to get this for 2 mana, it's just insane. So I'm going to call this a 5 out of 10, maybe even bordering on 6 out of 10. This feels like it could be the mythic uncommon where it's just like, yeah, I'm getting so much value out of my mana because I'm drawing, I'm getting a creature, and I might even be doing it for super cheap. At uncommon, kind of crazy. Pensive Professor, 1 and 2 blue human wizard, 0/2 with increment. Of course, that means when you cast a spell with mana greater than either its power or toughness, you get to buff it up. So this guy's going to end up being bigger than a 0/2 if you're casting spells. Whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are put on this creature, you get to draw a card. Very powerful. This is basically just whenever you cast a spell, draw a card for the first 2 to 3 spells you cast after him if he can stick around. So he becomes like a 3 mana 3/5 that drew you 3 cards. That's insane. The upside. Now, obviously, the downside is pretty bad because if you don't cast a spell right after playing him, you're in a pretty bad position. But I still think it's a really strong card. I'm going to give it a 7. I think it's a really strong card because you could draw a lot of cards off of him. I love that there's a card on here just called Procrastinate. Procrastinate, X and a blue. Tap target creature and then put twice X stun counters on it. That is a way to just take a creature out of a game right there. I mean, if you cast this for 3, you're putting 4 stun counters on it. That's insane. So that's just going to take a creature fully out of the game. That's basically removal, and it feels like pretty strong removal too. Now, obviously, they could blink that creature and get rid of your stun counters, but I still think this is very strong. I'm going to say a 5 out of 10. I think this is going to be a really strong removal spell. Quick Study, 2 and a blue, instant, draw 2 cards. I'm never going to hate on a card that draws you cards. I'm just never going to do that, especially at instant speed. I love it. Get those cards, hold up a counter spell, and then have this as a backup. This is just great. I think this is very solid. 4 out of 10, maybe even 5 out of 10. I mean, it's very basic, but I do love a draw card effect. All right, Run Behind, 3 and a blue, instant. This spell costs 1 less to cast if you target an attacking creature, so it might be 3. Target creature's owner puts on their choice of the top or the bottom of their library. I do like 4 mana, put it on the top or the bottom of their library because that does force a card draw. And I honestly love it at 3 mana, so for sure, at instant speed as well, this feels very powerful. I'm going to roll with that. I'll give it... This feels like solid removal, I'll be honest with you, but... It's between a 4 and a 5. It might be eking back down to a 4. It probably should be a 4. 2 and a blue, Sky Coach, Conductor, Bird Pilot, 2/3, Flash, Flying, Vigilance. That's enough to make it worth it. When this creature enters, it enters prepared. You get all aboard. 1 blue instant, exile target non-pilot creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield so it lets you blink a non-pilot creature. I mean, that's fine. But it's pretty good as just a 3 mana, 2/3, Flash, Flying, Vigilance. So if you pull this as your rare, I'd say at least a 5 out of 10. At least. Spellbook Seeker, 3 and a blue, so 4 mana, 3/3 flyer, enters prepared, bird wizard, and it comes with Careful Study. Draw 2 cards and then discard 2 cards. Totally fine effect. Solid enough creature. I don't love 4 mana, 3/3 flyer, but it gives you the ability to do Careful Study, which I think is solid. And let's say I'll say 4 out of 10. I think that's strong. I like being able to draw cards, man. It's hard for me to give anything below a 4 out of 10 if it draws cards. Tester of the Tangential. 1 in a blue Djinn Wizard increment, so this thing is going to get bigger. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may pay X. When you do, move X +1/+1 counters from this creature onto another target creature. Okay, that's something to do with your mana, and I do like that this is going to be a 2-mana 2/2 or bigger. I don't think I want to give it a ton of upside, so I'm still probably going to leave it at 4. But I do like that you can kind of just keep benefiting from it if you have the mana to pay to move them. So that's pretty solid. It might be a 5, but I'm going to give it a 4. Textbook Tabulator. 2 in a blue Frog Wizard 0/3, but it has increment, so it's going to be getting bigger. When it enters, surveil 2. Totally fine. If it gets bigger, this is very strong, but I don't love paying 3 mana for a 0/3, even if it surveils 2, so I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10. Wisdom of Ages, 4 and 3 blue. Return all instant sorcery cards from your graveyard to your hand. You have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. Fine, but I think that costs way too much for the effect in limited, so I'm actually going to give this a 1 out of 10. I don't think this is very playable. I think, yes, it gets you a lot of instants and sorceries, but maybe it's a 2 out of 10. But you really don't want to be doing this as your 7-mana effect, so I personally would not play it. And that is all the blue cards. So I want to know what you guys think down below. What did I rate right? What did I rate wrong? Are you excited for Secrets of Strixhaven? We definitely are getting more excited about Magic. I know you guys haven't seen it yet, but we made a video talking about where Magic has kind of landed for us recently, and we've been struggling with finding enjoyment and fun out of it. And I will say Secrets of Strixhaven seems to be headed back in the right direction. I'm really excited for it, really excited for The Hobbit, and really excited for Reality Fracture. Obviously, the other sets are kind of but you know what? We're trying to focus on the positives right now. This has been a really fun set review to do. So let me know what you guys think down below. Am I getting them right? Am I getting them wrong? What did I get right? What did I get wrong? We would love to hear from you. As always, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Any and all of it's greatly appreciated. The subscribe really does impact us the most. Every single subscription impacts a small channel like us so much. So thank you guys for the 409 of you that have done that. And if you haven't, you could go be 410. We would love it. Thank you so much. You're awesome. And I think that's it. We'll see you guys in whatever comes next. But as always, until then, may those rolls be ever in your favor. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace out. Bye, y'all.